Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Shaun from Zoobox, and today I'm going to be talking more movies, more film, getting real serious. And, it's hard to decide what to watch. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff out there, especially if you own multiple streaming services, literally thousands of movies at your fingertips at any given time. And then add on to that, I have a giant collection of movies that I own physically. Like I've said before, if you've been watching these videos, a little bit of a movie collector. So I am part of a lot of like Facebook groups. I don't engage with them. I just kind of linger there. A lot of genre specific stuff, a lot of horror stuff. And, it's good just to see what's out there for me. It'll just point some things out, in the maelstrom of everything that's available. People can kind of guide you to the bright lights. But having said that, horror communities are probably the most forgiving of any like subgenre of film as fans. They like a lot of garbage. They like a lot of shit. I guess for lack of a better way to put it. I disagree with them 90% of the time, but even having said that, like I saw this came up has been coming up a ton in the past month. It hit Amazon Prime I think like a month ago. And so I've just seen the name over and over again. I've seen the poster, the real poster. If you look at the thumbnail on Amazon, it looks like a cheap VOD movie with like bad photoshopping. But the actual poster is, intriguing for in a certain respect. Um, this is ICU is what I'm talking about. It's directed by Adam Randall. This is his third feature film, I believe. It's written by Devin Gray, which I've never heard of. I don't know anything about him. And stars Helen Hunt, John Tenney, Judah Lewis, Owen Teague, Lieb Bearer. That's your principal cast. I haven't seen Helen Hunt in a while, so I figured, why not? Why not check this out? I didn't have much going on. It just kind of popped up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit play. And so I did. And what did I think of it? What did I think of ICU? I mean, people are loving this thing. The horror community, people are loving it. And I even saw the Rotten Tomatoes score is actually not awful. It's like 73. I didn't check to see who actually reviewed it. I don't know if this is just like the blogosphere or if it's more entrenched film critics. But, man, this thing starts off very, very promising. Like it's got some strong direction. It's got an intriguing kind of setup, a great tone to it, a nice pace, if you will. And then, once the film starts to kind of reveal itself and there's a few twists and a few things that kind of recontextualize the things you've been watching, it starts to kind of just fall apart. It like collapses in on itself. Just contrivance after contrivance. It stops being credible at some point. I would say about 45 minutes in. Because it does this thing where it's got like a Rashomon quality to it, that Akira Kurosawa movie, where you see the same events from different perspectives. And once you start seeing things revealed, the things that made sense, like the character motivations and why people do the things that they're doing, it's actually just makes less sense the more you know about it. Which was weird because they did such a good job kind of establishing the main protagonists and kind of what was going on. And then it does this twist thing, and then it does another twist thing. And it just got more ludicrous, just sillier. And in a way that was not satisfying and not like fun. Because sometimes something can be just off kilter and it can still be a good time. Not everything needs to be perfect. Not everything needs to be Citizen Kane. Yeah, I said Citizen Kane. I love Citizen Kane. Shut up. And with that, by the end of it, I was just kind of left wanting. I was left just, I don't even know, mildly irritated. And I'll have to get into spoilers to really talk about why, because a lot of this movie is predicated on twists and recontextualizing things, and I just don't think a lot of those things work. And to talk about that, I have to be specific. But I would say, just off the jump, if you see this in your your search bar or whatever, your Amazon bar. Maybe pass it along. Amazon's got a lot of good stuff on there. You don't need to be wasting your time watching ICU. I would give it like a 2 out of 5 stars. That's what I would give it. I don't feel like I completely wasted my time. I wasn't like upset that I watched it, but I could have watched something else that would have been better. You know, I had other options. And I kind of impulsively just hit play. Because I was thinking of like, what am I going to talk about today? I got a 3-year-old kid. Can't watch everything around him. And this kind of rode the line, of what I would watch or not watch in front of him. Originally, I wanted to do The Devil's Advocate, but I can't watch that in front of a 3-year-old. He's too smart. Maybe some 3-year-olds are really dumb. My kid's just way too perceptive. And he's going to be running around saying, I'm a fan of man. Which would be funny, but I don't know if that's, good for his spirit. So yeah, let's talk about the movie. Let's talk turkey. Let's get into the details. Unfortunately, so the setup for the movie is, it's like it takes place in a very small town. Some kids are going missing. It's kind of like has echoes of a past case from like 15 years before. And then there's this family, and they're going through some kind of like family drama. It seems like the Helen Hunt's character is like the mother of a son, and her husband is the police detective who's working on this new case. And apparently she had been unfaithful at some point. And so they're a little estranged. They're dealing with that. And then there's all sorts of weird shit starts happening in their house. And at first you're not sure like really what it is. Is this like a supernatural thing? Is that what the reveal is going to be? Ends up not being that way. As far as all the stuff that's going on in their house, they have these kids that are kind of like crashing there. They're called froggers. They're frogging, where you hide in rich people's houses, and you live there for a couple days at a time, I guess. And one of the people that's doing this like is a little weird. He's a little off kilter, and he wants to fuck with them. So he starts like moving shit and stealing silverware and just a bunch of silliness. And in the third act, it's revealed that he's connected to. He has like a motivation to feel the way he does or act towards this family in this way. It's so fucking stupid. I gotta tell you. But so it does this thing where it's like you see a linear series of events up until a point where the wife thinks that her son murdered her lover, the person that she's been cheating on her husband with, because he like unceremoniously shows up to the house, and then he gets domed in the head with a coffee cup from up on high from the second floor, and she thinks it's her son, but it was really these froggers. And then it flips, and you see that there's froggers living there. Those are the things that were the mysterious things, and then that leads up to them finding out that the police detective father is this child abducting serial killer. And it doesn't really make any sense. It just doesn't connect any of these dots in terms of like the characters you've seen. And then when they recontextualize them, it doesn't deepen anything. It doesn't explain anything further or better. And I think, in some respects, to be fair, I think that was kind of the point, because there's a point where the serial killer detective is like staring down on the Frogger kid, and he's got a gun pointed at him, and he's like, wait. Yeah, let me explain. Like when I was a little boy, and the kid's like, I don't give a fuck. And he just shoots him dead. Maybe that's, part of the point of the movie. It's like, you don't need to hear the explanations of monsters about why they abuse and kill children, which fair enough. Maybe you don't. But it's revealed that kid was a survivor of this abuser, the serial killer from 15 years ago. So it was like, because there's nothing in it that happens. Like, you're supposed to think that this kid's just a loose cannon, and then he's going against the Frogger code, and he's fucking with these people, and he's just a sick bastard. And he kind of is just a sick fuck anyways. But like, I guess you could say because of the trauma or whatever. But when you find out what the skinny is, what the truth is, it just does not play well. When I found out that the police detective was a serial killer, there's nothing in the stuff that comes before it that ever points to that. Like, you never have an understanding of his pathology or anything like that. Just like I said, the movie kind of makes a point to say that we're not going to delve into his pathology, which just makes a bland character. It just makes him as a serial killer not interesting. Honestly, I mean, that's the truth. You can make a statement, sure, but that doesn't make it like satisfying to watch. And there's no like cat and mouse. There's no real mystery. It ends up not really being a mystery. It's a mystery because you're just lacking context and information, which you could, okay, fair enough. You can say that about a lot of mysteries themselves. I guess that's how mysteries kind of operate, but not in this way. It felt just narratively forced, like the writing was forcing this kind of contrived mystery, and then doesn't really do anything to make the pieces feel like they fit together at the end in a way that made a lot of sense. Like it really does. Like when you find out that the father serial killer detective is the serial killer, it's really comes out of left field. You're kind of just like, what? Okay, fine. There's nothing, there was nothing interesting about it, or even about how the reveal is achieved. It's it's a low budget movie. It's a movie of modest goals and means, and I don't think it hits its goals. I was really surprised to see how well reviewed it was. Now, like I said, I didn't really go specifically read any of the reviews, so I don't know. I don't know what people were saying, but just from that, just seeing the Rotten Tomatoes score, I was like 73%. I was like, that's really high. That's really high for this. I don't know. Maybe people gave it a pass because of the scale of the movie. I will say this though, some decent performances. Helen Hunt's really good in it. John Tenney, who's the guy you see, what else has he done? He's been in a whole bunch of stuff. This dude's like a lot of TV stuff. Oh, he's in Tombstone, Beverly Hills Cop 3, Legion. But I think I recognize him mostly from television. I think that's mostly what he does. And he was pretty good. I wish they would have given him some better material to work with. Like, build this character up. Let me see a little bit of this pathology and see what we're up against. Like, you just don't know anything about what you're up against or why I should feel scared or that this guy's a mastermind or whatever. Because there's this kind of red herring thing where, obviously it was him from 15 years ago and the case has now come back up and they're like, oh, did we get the wrong guy 15 years ago? Because they made an arrest. It was this convicted pedophile who had, obviously this guy had planted evidence on him, but he was a convicted pedophile, so he was an easy guy to nail. And it just doesn't do anything with it. Nothing interesting. And then that never adds up into anything. They just use it as like filler almost. Because they do this little part where they go to interrogate one of the kids and he freaks out. And I guess in hindsight, you're supposed to be like, oh, he's freaking out because that guy's there. But I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh on it. I'm tired. I was tired when I watched it too. Not always great to watch a movie when you're tired. Not always. Especially if you haven't seen it before. But didn't require like any mental heavy lifting to watch this and to get what they were going for. Because like at the very, very end, you wouldn't know that this Frogger kid, the one that kills the serial killer detective, that he's a previous victim. You wouldn't know that until the final moments of the movie. They have just like a shot on him. He's in a gurney. He's getting loaded into an ambulance. And there's like a drone shot of his face. And it's going up and it's intercutting footage of these kids on the train tracks getting approached by the serial killer guy 15 years before. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, great. Yet another twist. Fucking feels shallow. Like, it's too bad. Like, I think that this director is actually not bad, though. I think it's pretty strong direction. It definitely has a good pace to it. It has a good tone. It's just the material itself is just weak. So it's really, I wouldn't put it on him necessarily, unless he's, really, really rewrote this script. But I mean, it's really effective for like 45 minutes. And then it just, I don't know. It's like it pulls the rug out from under itself for like no reason. Because there's so many different layers of shit going on. Like this her ex-lover that gets donned with a coffee cup. She's like tries to hide him in the basement. It's like, okay, I gotta bring my son to school. And then somebody fucking hits him in the head with a baseball bat, and you think it's the Frogger kid because you don't see who does it, but ends up being the serial killer dude. But anyways, so he takes off and he lets his wife find the body, and she just waits for him to come back home from work, and she freaks out, and then they decide to bury the body because she thinks it's her son that did this because he was mad about the affair. And they go and bury the body out in the woods. And then from then on, the movie just kind of ceases to be interesting. Because I was like, oh, I did not see this coming. I didn't think it was going to go here. I didn't think it was going to have that many, like, layers of narrative just happening at the same time. And it doesn't. It really doesn't, because it doesn't do anything with that stuff. It all takes place within a few days, but mostly like the main stuff that's happening is in the like one day and night, and it just doesn't do anything with all these little like strands that it's kind of these seeds that it's planting, and it doesn't feel like they ever bear any fruit. You like that? You like that metaphor? You're welcome. It's real. That's top stuff, guys. I mean, can you believe I do this for free? Can you believe this is for free on youtube.com? Also on facebook.com, Zubox Podcast. Wow. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about it. It was kind of a letdown. I would say a major letdown. Not that I had the highest expectations for it, because even with like no expectations for it, I still managed to be disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, you know? I'm sorry, my son. I see you. I'm sorry. But you done fucked up. Because it has, like I said, you could see this working. I could see a better script of this. I could see maybe, even though I think the direction was strong, maybe a more seasoned director do something more interesting with this. Like, this would be something to be interesting to take somebody like David Fincher and have him really elevate this material. And before you say, oh, David Fincher elevating material, yeah, go watch The Panic Room. Go watch Gone Girl. Gone Girl is the best Lifetime original movie ever made. Because that's all it really is. It's just the best one. It's just the best made one. Yeah, that would be cool. That would have been cool. Because it's got something going for it. Just cannot deliver. It has to get too clever for its own good. It just thinks it's so fucking clever. It's almost smug. Like, as the twists unfurl, you're just like, oh, come on, this is so exhausting. This is not fun. This is not what I was promised. This is not harrowing. Because at some point, it really did just feel like scenes happening in front of me, which, okay, sure, whatever. But it just, like, without, like, I know it said it had a good pace, and I don't want to be I don't want to be a liar. It moves along at a good clip. It's like a 90-minute movie. But the way they construct some of it, because of the perspective shifting, it doesn't always feel like it's building towards what it ends up building towards in hindsight. Like, it just doesn't feel like it was working towards that in a smart manner, because there's plenty of opportunity for character growth or little moments where you would see something, but because of the mystery box that it is, it's all predicated on just not having the right perspective. Because it's like a novel trick. It's not like rooted in character. And it would have been interesting if some of the stuff was rooted in character and we just knew a little bit more. Maybe if the movie had been a little bit more straightforward rather than trying to do this kind of gimmicky Rashomon thing. My 2 cents. But yeah, I've talked long enough about ICU. I can't ever think about this movie again. I need to put it behind me. I need to fucking get my life together. I need to watch The Devil's Advocate, I think. Or Showgirls, man. I got Showgirls in the mail today. Might be time to revisit Showgirls so I could tell you about it. But anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk about something else. Never going to talk about ICU again. Not even if you pay me. Well, okay, maybe if you pay me. All right. Shaun out.